Hi everyone from from the new apartment. Happy Friday. It feels like the weekend to me. How are you today? I can see the comments, but I'm doing everything on my phone today because we don't have Wi-Fi yet. Rachel and I somehow we're so on top of like getting the lease signed and get everything together, but like didn't even fathom that we would need Wi-Fi or like that it would be hard to get Wi-Fi. Currently our Wi-Fi appointment is like May 29th. So I upgraded my phone to unlimited data because I'm like, I need to be able to do whatever I want, like work, whatever, and not worry about data. And like, I don't think I've ever done a stream before. Maybe once in Tucson we did a stream using, oh, hold on, let me turn on Do Not Disturb. Okay. Using just my phone. And so it's like a tiny device, but I can see some of the comments going by. So hi everyone, happy Friday the 13th to all of the lovely bead friends. I hope you haven't dropped too many beads today. This is just one like idea set up for the bead area. It's gonna shift a lot because we're trying to like divide up the room so that this is just like one portion of the room and then the other side is the living room. We're probably gonna put some sort of wall divider. But if I put that wall divider like on this side because the living room's this way, then possibly I could get to keep all of this around me, and I'm so happy in my forest. I had to go pick up like a power strip so I could plug my phone in. There's no outlets. This is an old apartment. There's no outlets. There's like 2 outlets on that side of the room. So I couldn't plug my phone in for this stream. I was like, oh, I will make it about 10 minutes and then my phone will die. So I'm dangerously close to Home Depot and I was picking up a nice power strip and I have a new plant friend. This is my new ficus. Isn't it beautiful? It was $25, which is, I think, quite good. It needs like a cute little ceramic pot, so that'll be its own little adventure. Like much like bead buying, where like bead buying and making can be 2 different hobbies. Plant buying and plant care, and then like ceramic purchasing is its own hobby, and it's very fun. So it's nice to be surrounded by my plants. I have lots of beady goodness in front of me, and we're gonna we're gonna do some like easy, kind of like as Sarah would say, like the feel good wins. We're like not too complex, something just like you can do pretty quickly, but like feel really good about, using pretty standard techniques. We're mostly gonna be doing like simple loops, wrap loops, a little bit of brio wrapping, and that's basically it. But we're gonna try to combine it in some fun ways and base it much more on color and palette, which is kind of our theme on Fridays these days. Because we did our first palette day last Friday and it was a lot of fun in Gem Chat. So if you've not joined in today, I've only seen a few palettes so far. I want to see a few more palettes in Gem Chat. The challenge that we're trying out, potentially now weekly, is I agree, Lori. The challenge is set a timer for 10 minutes, go to your beads, hit start, and you have exactly 10 minutes to make a palette. So giving yourself like a little bit of that like time crunch really gets you moving and just to make decisions. And you really will come up with some interesting combinations. The 4 strands that I grabbed were just some nice blues. And then from there, I expanded a little bit as I kind of thought of what projects I wanted to do today. So I have 3 earring designs that we're going to go through today. Each should be about 15-20 minutes. I say no. If you're focused, it should be that. I'd like to hang out on these streams, so it'll probably take each one will take a little longer. So we might just do one of some of them, but we should have time to get to all 3 projects. Lori said I have to make. Lori says I like the beads designing for me. Well, yeah, I think that's kind of part of it. Is like you could absolutely approach the palettes that way. Like I saw a couple of these strands lying at the top of the tub, and I'm like, okay, I think I'm feeling blues today. That's definitely like these soft blues. I think that's kind of where I'm feeling. Then I grabbed some coppers and a few other things and started to think of what the designs could be and grabbed a few more small beads. So I think we should jump in. I know it's not a surprise book, but today I was like, I need a little comfort project today. I was originally going to be at the beach with my family. They drove down like a few hours south for the weekend for just a lovely little family vacation. And I woke up today and realized I couldn't fathom getting in my car and driving for 3.5 hours. I was exhausted from the concert. The shop's been busy. We've been organizing the shop, and then Rachel and I have been moving. I'm like, I can't go anywhere right now. I need to be on my couch. I want to eat food. I need to just take it a little bit more easy. So I am at home, but that is why I originally thought of the blues, because I gathered the blues and I thought I would be possibly beating at the beach today, but I am beating at home, which I think is what I want today. So let me go ahead and flip the camera around. I'm just going to take myself off for a quick second. It's a little easier to do it that way. So it'll be quiet for about 15 seconds. Super. Alrighty, we are back. We're on this lovely new desk that Rachel picked up and I've already adopted because it's literally fits so perfectly in this corner. And here's what I've got. So these are the 4 strands I originally picked out. You might recognize some of them from the shop. I looked up which ones we currently have, and I believe it's these 2. We still have about a dozen of each of these. These are the table cut ovals, and these are some table cut rectangles. These 2 I fell in love with. I think they've sold out by now, but it possibly will work with some of these as well. But let me take you through the 3 designs I'm thinking for palette day today. The first design is using my favorite triangles that I don't think I've used enough at all yet. They're having their moment today in a nice, assuming they don't fly away. Interesting. I wonder if I have some of the rejects, because these ones all have Picasso on one side, but that will work just fine. basically, it's going to be a triangle at the bottom of the earring, and then we're going to make a beaded chain for them to dangle with. So these are going to have a lot of movement, and I think be an earring that'll be very adaptable and just like not too much going on. I think of it like a very sellable type piece. So we're going to start with that one. I've got a couple space, like I'm going to use a smaller bead to make my beaded chain. You could also use some little jemmies, or you could just use a chain and it'll become a 5-minute earring, which that's great. Our second or third, depending what order we pick, we're going to do a chandelier earring. You can use any chandelier finding for this. You can even make your own. I have a couple of the temple links from TR Cast, so those have 3 holes at the bottom, and we're going to play around with some of that for one of our pairs. And then the last one's inspired by, I think, one of the very first classes Rachel Malice and I did, where you do a fully monochromatic earring using different sizes of the same color. So I think that in that first class we actually used apatite, and I'm leaning towards using apatite today. I might mix other things into it, but those are going to be our 3 earrings. These ones are going to be kind of like a cascade look. The triangles are going to become a dangling chain, and these are a chandelier. So we have kind of three more basic design starts that all kind of use similar basic techniques, mostly wrap loops. So let's start with the brio wrapping. For these guys, you basically need to always want to think about the hole size. Never force a bead on your wire. We've all learned that the hard way, that beads don't like to be that sort of to be talked to that way. So this is a 24 gauge, and you can see that has some pretty nice movement on it. If I use a 22, it'd probably be a lot harder to move and would probably be a bit more prone to cracking. Definitely not a 20 gauge or 18 gauge. So we're just going to start by brio wrapping each of these. I'm going to come with about 10 inches of wire. Warm that up. Cynthia, can you make some Father's Day ideas, please? That's so interesting. I also had like a roll of stretch cord nearby because I think that would be really great for some men's jewelry. And I was thinking like what beads I would want to use. I will have to think on that one. Sarah Lovecraft did a whole live today on men's jewelry. Recommend checking out, and she released a bunch of kits. So if you want to go support her today, go show her some love. She made like, I think it was all Father's Day themed, and a lot of them were bracelets with lots of knotting and leather. It was so beautiful. So come on over. There's a couple ways to brio wrap. Let's do my favorite method today. I'm going to bring my bead to the center of my wire. So I've got about 6 inches on either side, and bring that up. I find this to be a fairly simple brio wrapping method that's also pretty secure, because we're going to end up doing a double wire loop essentially. So those are all I did there was pinch that together as tight as I could basically, so it's pretty lined up with that triangle. I can tell that the room's very echoey because we don't have a ton in here yet. There's a couch and a rug, so I don't know why it's so echoey. And now I'm going to put my pliers right against the bead, probably about there. I want about that large of a gap, and fold that 90 degrees. And that'll be the start of our wrapped loop. Rotate 90 and bring this over. So now you have the first part of your loop. Going to rotate those back up again so that there's room for my wire to get under. Most folks, I'm sure, are masters of this by now, but if you are newer, getting good at wrap loops is a really nice place to start, because it'll help with any design you do. Most people now switch hands. I am a weirdo and I do not switch hands. I keep those 2 loops on my round nose pliers as I wrap around. I'm not going to do too much of a messy wrap because I want these to be a little bit more minimalist. That's like more than enough, I think, for this design. When you do it, you should do whatever speaks to you. I'm just going to tuck that in at the bottom. Normally I probably would bring that back up to the top, but clearly I am in, that's my mood today. And that works just fine. As long as your wires aren't sticking out a lot. I'll do that one more time for the other one. Welcome, welcome to those just joining. We're just having some like nice, like easy time today. I hope you do the palette challenge and then make some of your own quick earring designs. Try out some of these if you are inspired by them. Warm up that wire again. Oh, Julia. Brooks asking about Julia's gift. I gave them the final piece. I posted a photo in Gem Chat. I gave them the final piece a couple days ago because their parents were coming in yesterday. So I will get an update. I'm hopeful that their mom will like it. I was most concerned about size. So I told them to like, if I could hopefully adjust the size while their mom's still in town, that would be great. Alrighty, I'm pinching my wire. Coming in again about the same place, so the gap there is similar in size. Fold 90 and do all the things with the pliers that we just went over. Kind of like to re-grip it here so I have a good access. Keep that bead in line because it'll help with right now, keeping that in where it needs to be. Kind of usually put them side by side to see if they have a similar amount of wire. I think this could use maybe one more wrapping to line up. They will not match 100%. That's okay. Here is where you could then bring the wire back up to the top of the loop and secure it there. That's probably more standard than cutting at the bottom. I am cutting it at the back because I will see it a little bit, and now it kind of hides there in the back. Alrighty, first element done, and for the remainder of the earring, we're making a really nice, hopefully nice, simple beaded chain. And y'all gonna groan at me. I'm thinking I want to do all copper, and I think I want to do all wrapped loops. For doing this chain, I think it'll have a really nice, like, dainty quality. If you use like a 24 or even a 26 gauge wire, I think I used up all my 26 by now. We used in so many of those Rachel Malice classes. But you're not going to need very long sections of this. Let's see, that should be about enough. That's about 2.5 inches there, because the bead in the center is not going to take up any room. So I'm going to start the chain at the top so I don't have to worry about holding on to that other bead from the start, and we'll attach that at the end. And we're going to do a basic wrap loop. For the next one, I'll do a step-by-step. I'm just going to get us going. This is a great chance to master your wrapped loops, and for Wanda to tell me to switch my hands. Never! It's not going to happen. She got me to do it once, and I kind of admitted that I liked it. But I don't think it's happened again since. Okay, I want these beads to work, but I'm seeing that the holes are really big. You see how it just totally swallows my coiling? Which means I have to do more coiling or use a different bead. Oh, I like the idea of doing an all copper. Do I have another copper bead nearby? I like the idea of like an all metal chain. But I do have these 3mm drooks that also would totally work. And I think will look nice, have this nice beachy quality cream with the Capri. Anita wraps like me. I feel so validated. All right, so to finish off the wrap loop, we don't need much room for our two little wraps. It's the same as the Brio wrap, bend 90. The issue with this short amount of wire is there's not a lot to hold on to. How much patience do we think I have today? How long are these earrings going to be? I have a feeling we're going to want a minimum 3 little wrap loops. I also might decide while doing this that, oh, I just squeezed it not how I wanted to, so I have to start that one over. I wasn't paying attention and squeezed my loop and lost it. The faster way to do this project would be to use a slightly thicker gauge wire. That's 22, here's 20. I am doing easy win today, so this, I might switch this over. So we'll do our evil simple loops instead, possibly, to make our chain. Currently my loop is larger than my bead, so that look feels off. But I'm not opposed to the simple wrapped loop idea. What I'm doing here is making sure each side has a flush cut to it, because you can only get one flush cut per cut. So making sure each direction is facing inwards with the flush side of the pliers. Mike says, how do you get all those beads back in their individual containers after you put them in that circle dish? Don't they get all messed up? So the middle one's just a soup. And then otherwise, I super recommend tools like this. I've carried them in the shop a few times, and they really help for scooping out things like this a little bit more efficiently, because then you can pour it out into the original bead container. You can also use your fingers with these pretty easily. I have definitely missed comments, so if you had a question, please shout it out again. Here is a basic simple loop. The amount of wire you need will be dependent on the size of the loop you're wanting to go for. I'm just going to do a little less wire this time to have a little smaller of a loop. This would be really fun with some tiny gemmies, but you would have to do wire wrap loops because those holes would be a lot smaller. And in this case, you need to just fold that bead, the wire, immediately 90. You don't want a gap where your chain's going to start looking a little funky. Lori says, see if your copper works on the 20 gauge. Yeah, I don't know if I'm curious. I'm thinking of how that would affect it. Currently, I have all my loops facing perpendicular directions, which rosary makers always recommend. So I'm going to go with that so that the chains kind of hang better. I'm going to keep going this way. But you can kind of see, aside from the loop I crushed, the look difference of a simple loop versus a wrap loop, and then the 2 different gauges of wire. I really like the look of the little dainty wrap loops. I think they'll have a really nice, like, professional quality to them. Maybe I'm a little crazy, but the simple loops just look a lot simpler, and the wrap loops have like a little bit of an elevated feel. I grab the 20 gauge because if I am doing simple loops, I basically want to use as thick a gauge as I can. I don't think I really need 18 in this case, but I'm not worried about my simple loop when it's a 20 gauge. If in the case of like a 24 and 26, I wouldn't make simple loops out of those because I'd be too worried because it's a dead soft wire of that opening right up. So where does that leave us? We've tried both, and I still like the wrap loop a lot better. So I might take Lori's suggestion. This is our 20 gauge wire. See how I like making a wrapped loop with it, and if I can use my little copper beads. And I also have a whole tray of copper beads somewhere, so I theoretically should be able to. Where's my other tray? Swap out which copper bead I'm using. So for the wrap loops, I need a little bit. let's try, we're gonna try this one again with the copper bead, because that is what my original idea for this design was. And I want to make a small loop, so I'm going to come kind of towards the tip of my pliers and kind of memorize that spot as our guide for the rest of these loops. It's a lot harder to make wrap loops, I find, using a thicker gauge wire like this. You just kind of have to like, it'll fight you a little bit more, but it is possible. Lori, I have a feeling that was a good suggestion. I'm just feeling that this is going to work. Look at that. The loop didn't swallow the wrap. And it's so much easier because to bend the 90 degrees against one bead is quite hard. That bead doesn't look so happy. It's so much easier to be able to come in with the plier, grab it, and then make the 90-degree bend. So I think this is what we're going to do for the first earring. With it being a thicker gauge wire, you can always come in with your plier. And you'll probably end up getting some actually nicer wraps. Can you hear the tunes of the person driving by? All right, let's see how our first one did. This first loop needs just a little adjusting, but it looks like we're good to go. So that's what we're going to do just a couple times and see how that looks with just a few of those, and those will be our first easy win earrings. I'm gonna give myself a little extra wire so I'm not having to battle it quite so much. All right, what have I missed in the comments? The nice thing when I have a full computer set up is it's much easier to see what everyone's talking about, and I like to be part of the conversation. And when I miss things, I don't feel like I'm part of the conversation. So I'm scrolling up for a second. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay. Sarah and I have been working on a little like tool and wire collection for the shop. I think we basically have the first little batch drafted. I am very curious to hear some like final thoughts on it. Currently, we're focused on wire and a few tools to start. We kind of came up with a collection of German style and dead soft wire, just so that we have those in the shop, which we haven't had in the past. But I feel like we use them every class, so like why not have them in the shop? And we can actually have a lot of gauges, because I know sometimes like German style, it's like hard to find like all the ones you're looking for. So we're going to focus on silver, copper. Guess we forgot to connect up. That's okay. Silver, copper, gold as the main ones in both wire styles, like the German style and like the dead soft. They have some other colors, but we're thinking of starting there and kind of assessing. And then, of course, we can get as complex as we can eventually. We're going to start with round wire. But I think just we're going to start with the round and the basic colors. And then pick a few tools. And then I get a little overwhelmed, like picking like what different cords and things to get for the shop. Because there's so many options. But I basically want to get the things that are high quality and folks here in the community would be the most helpful for you. I really want to try that cord that Sarah was showing today that is made out of recycled bottles. That stuff looked really cool. But I just want to have that in the shop just so like as you're browsing the site, grabbing some like new fun little gemmies, you can also pick up some of those basics as well. Is anyone beating along with me today? Yeah, it was the repeat chord. That was it, Sharon. Thank you. It looked really nice too. So this is why I don't make rosary chains, because it would take me a million years. But I remember when I first learned wrap loops, I did make a whole necklace of wrap loops. Let's take a look here, how long we're gonna end up wanting these. I'm gonna guess 3 is gonna end up being about right. I'm also seeing it and like having 3 of the same bead is like not my usual style, but I'm gonna go with it for now. I think that middle bead could be a little pop accent. But I'm trying to keep these projects pretty like more in like the sellable vein, where like there's not too many color veins going on, so that they could be paired with a lot of outfits and kind of, and that's what I mean by like sellable, that someone could purchase it and be able to pair it with lots of, with like basically almost anything. It could be like the sort of earring that could become someone's go-to. Alrighty, let's do one last loop for this earring and get on the ear wire. So we're going to go ahead and bring on our Capri. We'll have to do a little bit of finagling. We can kind of start that now. If we make sure each loop is facing 90 degrees from the loop opposite it, it should all be lined up. That one's looking pretty good by the end. But even with that, it'll probably need a little bit of adjustment from there. So it's a little harder to do the wrap loops with something connected, because I just have a little less to grab onto, so I'm having to do my loop one piece at a time. These Capri Triangles we have on the website, and I grabbed them because I'm in love with them. I think everyone needs to try designing with them. You don't get beads in that shape a lot, especially top drilled. So I think I'm really hoping I like the final result here. What I've been dreaming about with these beads. Just let the light shine through them. Alrighty, last wrap loop for this earring. Okay. What are y'all talking about in the comments? Okay. I have my beaded chain connected to my triangle. It's going to open up a loop on some, let's see, and we'll have to see how it ends up hanging. So if I hold that 90, hold that straight up and down, that would be our final earring, and I love it. They just have some length, they have lots of movement to them. I'm going to hold them up for myself to make sure they're hanging nicely. Currently my triangle is not facing forward, it's basically hanging like this. So we just need to adjust one loop this way to get it to what we want. I guarantee I will pick a direction and it will not be the right one, but I'm going to try. So all I'm doing is bringing one set of my loops in line with each other. And that should fix the problem. Yep, and we're good to go. That is our first project. For time's sake, we definitely should keep going. How did it become 5:40? That is easy project number 1. I have the brio ready for number 2. Our 2 other ones, let's do our Cascade Monochromatic next, because I see this apatite right in front of me. So it's fun if you have multiple shapes and sizes of the same stone. That's kind of how Rachel Miles originally presented this project. I think I'm going to mix it up a little bit and add in some other things that could go in. I also kind of want to involve some larger beads, so I possibly might grab some of my icy beads. And this is, we can just kind of start laying out something that works. See, look, I had the apatite already lost its moment because I went for all the glass in front of me. These drops I've had in my stash forever. I think I got them at a bead store ages ago. And they have this like sea glass frosted look to them. And I've always wanted to do something. So that could be, these are very dark, but are pretty. I could see, keep the coins going. Could do all coins too. Do we have any more coins nearby? These are kind of a coin. I know I know I have to have the right bead in front of me. I grabbed so many. Ooh, we have a baby coin from that mix in the January box. But it's still not the right glass tone. Let's see. Well, I know I like these icy beads up there. Thoughts, anyone? Because I definitely was wanting it originally a monochromatic, and I broke away from that very quickly. Let's try it. I think I'm being my own worst critic for no reason. For this guy, I'm also going to want wrapped loops. Let's see if these beads will all go on 20 gauge. All right, looks like we're good. Let's start with our brio wraps again to get those kind of prepped for us. I'm going to do another style of brio wrapping. Instead of the double loop, we'll do a standard brio wrap. Kristen said, instead of a bead, why do a jump ring? That would be cool to keep this like coin theme going. If I had some of the, essentially like a mini, these I think are TR cast jump ring, but I like the little TR cast hammered rings. I actually really like that. I feel bad for the brio wrapping, I just promised. Actually, I am going to add that in as a design element because it keeps 3 coins in line. So we're going to go with that. Alrighty, here is more standard brio wrapping method. Bring your bead towards one side, about 6 inches of wire. I'm going to bring both sides up. I'm using a much thicker gauge wire, so it's a little trickier to pinch these together. That should look something like that. Try to get it as centered as you can. The long side is going to stay up, and our shorter side is going to wrap around. Sometimes I'll kind of come in and give it a bend so I can really choose where that wrapping is going to start, and so it's staying in line. And I'm going to hold my bead. If your bead is a really delicate bead, you can't do this. You really need to hold it, to get your bead out of the way, and hold it by the wire, which is going to be much more sturdy to do your loop here, to do your wrapping. You only need one, maybe two wraps there. And then we can finish up our wrap loop. So I'm just going to go ahead and bend that 90 degrees right against where I made my wrapped loops. And come with my pliers to start my loop again. Okay, that'll work. I'm just wrapping on top of the other loops here. You don't have to do it that way, but it will give it like a more of a pronounced look, which I don't mind. It stands out a lot because we're using a thicker gauge 20 gauge wire in this case. I'm not someone who's super loyal to a specific wire gauge. I know a lot of folks have go-tos. If I have one or two in front of me that will work, I will use the I'll use the one that's working fine for what I'm doing, and not stress about it too much, as long as the piece is sturdy. So I'm definitely gravitating towards thicker ones. All right, so that is on a nice thick tier cast jump ring there. Their jump rings are phenomenal. Pretty sure these were some of the extras from when we made the ones on the little sets on the website. And I like that idea because it kind of keeps that coin theme going that we're going for. Yeah, Gail, I think I hope I answered your question. Currently wrapping with a 20 gauge dead soft copper wire. And I saw that will fit through my other beads too, so we're going to keep going and get our second earrings on the way. Deciding how I want to exactly do this. I think I want to keep doing more wrap loops and possibly double up them. Keep that thick coiling going. It'll be harder to like make them mirror as much with doing that, but I'm sure we can persevere. I will need a little extra wire to do so. It's about 8 inches. I'm going to go ahead and start my next wrapped loop. I am going to want, yeah, that'll work fine. I want to make sure that jump ring stays forward as we construct this, so let's keep an eye on that. Got a question about wire gauges. Is the lower the gauge, the softer the wire? So gauges has to do with thickness of wire. I've got a few in front of me. This is 20, 22, 24. So as that number gets larger, these are all fractions. The wire gets thinner. The larger the number, the thinner the wire. So you can see that there's a lot more give in that 24 gauge than say this 20 gauge is quite a bit harder to bend. It doesn't want to, it's not quite as like flimsy feeling. So you can kind of, it can be helpful in some cases where you need a bit of a sturdier wire. Like if you're making simple loops, you don't have to stress as much about your loops opening when you use a 20 gauge. Alrighty. We are making a wrapped loop for our lovely appetite coin. That's a bead that we had in the shop in like 2020. I remember that bead distinctly. So I'm gonna make a couple loops here, and that one's been sitting mustashed. And that's a lovely blue apatite, so I'm excited to use that one. I'm gonna wait to do the double wrappings. I'm gonna go ahead and put on the apatite and keep going, and then we're gonna come back and add the double wrappings. Shari, I was gonna say, I thought you might have picked up some of those apatites. I'm gonna go ahead. See, now it's a little bit in my way, but it's okay. All right, so now we're at a point where there are wrap loops on the top and bottom, but to kind of mimic that thicker coiling look, we're going to add on another layer, at least one more layer to each of these, and see how that looks. And I'm not going to try to do this in a too perfect of a way because I don't think, oh, actually, that's the look I'm wanting. This one just kept going. So it kind of became this little bead cap on it. I kind of like it. I need to be able to connect this, which is fine actually, because we got a jump ring there, saving the day. Who suggested that? That was, you just saved us right there. I would have had to start this whole one over. And I'm not even gonna really try to replicate that because I know if I try to do it again, it's not, it's not gonna happen. But I will keep following the wire a little bit. All right, so I'm also keeping these loops perpendicular intentionally. Let's see how that's, bead down. Okay. Okay, I love using this large jump ring as a little design element. That was a great idea. Let's get that jump ring closed up. Give it a little wiggle there so it really stays secure. And honestly, I think like those earrings could be like ready to go as is, but let's see how it, we actually really like that. I don't like it. I don't want that. Go away. Go away, bead. I just want another jump ring and I think I'm calling it a day. I think I just want potentially another jump ring, or I just don't want to distract from what it currently is. I actually like the flow of the piece as is. Oh, I have the other apatites. If we wanted one more apatite. I also just really like these earrings as is. So you know what? I'm grabbing my ear wires. Stop while I'm ahead. I have purchased my copper wire in bulk from Monster Slayer. They're just another small business, so I like supporting them. We will have wire selections in the shop, probably around by the end of the month, depending on how fast we can get this all onto the website. So you can also just add them to your orders with your beadies. So there's another quick earring. That wire is kind of bugging me there. I should have cut it more towards the back of the coin. So I'm gonna see if I can get in there. Yep. And make it end behind the bead. There we go. Earring number 2. This one, oh, we didn't do the other brio, so we have to start that one from the beginning. But I'll leave out those beads, so that's ready to go there. And let's do earring number 3, moving right along, is using chandelier components. One of my favorite things. Any chandelier component will work. We're actually totally out of these ones because y'all bought us out of the temple links. But Rachel and I already have some new chandelier findings we just got in to post, and we'll definitely get more of these. This would also work with something like the Marrakesh link, which has even more little connection points there. But I like this one because it just had 3. So it fit well with keeping things just a little bit simpler today. The bead I was thinking for these are melon drops or these big table cut teardrops, but those are looking a little large. These melon drops should be back in soon. Every time I stock them, they seem to sell out very quickly, so I'm going to try to get a little bit of a bigger batch this time because they're such a fun bead. That's what it looks like going down. We're just going up. Give everything a spin just to make sure you like it as is. I think that's what I want. Or we flip it over. Kind of depends what other bead I end up. I was going to use like a little bead going down from there. And I was still kind of feeling like that beachy mood. So to have a little strand of these guys coming down. Shara says 1 up, 1 down. I thought you were going to have the answer for me, Shara. Virginia says up will give me more room for the side beads. That is true. I also happen to really like the shape of the melon drops going that way. And then I like the look there of some of these like cream drooks hanging down from the side. So let's make some quick knotted head pins. Wanda hit us with our knotted head pin alert. I'm going to use a 22 gauge because I actually really want to see the knotted head pin in this case. 6 inches will be plenty of wire. Here is a knotted head pin tutorial if you've never made one. Every time I show it, there's always 1 or 2 people watching who have not tried a Sarah Lovecraft knotted head pin. Once you try it, your life will be forever changed. So what I just did is I cut that wire flush, and I straightened it out using my hands, but you could use a nylon jaw as well. And we're going to come in with our round nose pliers. Nice pointy ones are very helpful in this case. I actually, on these beetle-on ones, this one's more pointy, so I'm putting that towards the back because I'm bending towards the back. So it'll wrap around the thinner one. And all I'm doing is twisting, twisting, twisting to make a coil until you get back. See that little nub there? That was our starting point. And we're going to bend it a nice 90 degrees. Now you can take it off the pliers. Try to get your camera to focus and bring your wire back through. So it should look something like this. Pull it mostly through. Grab some nylon jaws. And finish pulling that through. Give it a nice, oh! I was gonna say give it a nice tug, but don't give it that nice of a tug. But I did get a decent knotted head pin today. And that'll become a nice little bed, little pillow for our bead. Awesome. Love, this is the teal color that I truly have not been able to keep in stock. It is so pretty. And we're gonna leave that as is for now and do one more. I don't want to commit yet because I don't know how much room we're going to end up needing. So let's just do that one more time. We use 22 gauge wire. You can basically use whichever you like. I think Sarah uses 22 and 24 for her knotted head pins. Oh, Lori. I was just like, I'm gonna get this wire through. It's happening. Whether it likes it or not, it's going. And then apparently, no, I'm going. All right, let's do that again. Just breaking Rachel's desk on the first day. It's a pretty sturdy desk. I think it'll take a few thousand knotted head pins before it really starts getting some wear and tear from. Okay. Second knotted head pin. Second melon. All right, we got the basis of our earrings there. So these cream beads are probably my best bet. I could mix them with some of the copper, or if I can magically locate some other tiny blue beads very quickly. I did have some cobalt ones, but I don't think that's quite the color palette I was going for. This would be really pretty with like some gold. Oh my gosh, I know what I want. I found this bag of some Orion spacers. Let's see what we've got in here. These Orion spacers are on the website. They're like this pointed spacer. And we have them in copper. How many copper do I have in this little tub here? I've got a bunch of the gold ones. So I'm going to do some mixed metal here because there is a kind of a gold finish on that melon drop anyway. Ooh, I like the look of that. It has because those points kind of look nice with that temple link. Alrighty, guess we're gonna need some more knotted headbands, aren't we? If you really want your earrings to be speedy earrings, you could definitely use some head pins. I recommend ball head pins because I think they have a really nice look. I always just friggin' forget to buy them. So here I am making more knotted head pins week after week because they work. You always have a head pin ready to go. I think I've got it down to about 15 seconds a head pin, which doesn't feel too bad. There we go. All right, I really want to make sure that wire is pretty straight because we're using a lot of small beads and I don't want this to end up looking like a zigzag mess. You know, making fun of me, becoming hazardous, making knotted head pins. Okay, we're gonna have to see how much room we have. Let's start with 5. We'll see what that looks like. Alright, 5 would look something like that. That is too many. Let's go down to 3. I'm going for a little, trying to go for some balance here. I still want that to be the lowest element. Something like that. I think that'll work. I remember I used to make some ball head pins when I had a torch. I don't know where that torch is these days. I do want to make sure there's like the look of space before the chandelier starts. So I'm going to put a drook maybe before at the top of each of my strands. and then leave room for a few wraps as well. So because we're going to try to connect this directly to the component, which is its own fun little task, we need big enough loops. So come on over on your round nose pliers. I'm going to come almost all the way over so that that loop is helping you for this next step. Because we're trying to wrap loops onto there without a jump ring. Use a jump ring if you want. A little more ease. Because we did that loop big enough, I still have something to hold on to right now. Anastasia, I'm glad you're having fun. Sometimes I don't know if my classes are helpful. I'm just like, I'm gonna try to have a good time. I hope someone gets something out of it. So I appreciate that. And how much wrapping do I want to do here? I'm hoping I didn't just do overboard. I went up doing more of that cluster wrap. Actually, I think I like it. It means I have to do it more times in a similar way, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's handmade jewelry. Okay. Let's go to our melon drop next. I'm going to do that white drook. And I'm hoping in the end that white drook becomes its own little like chevron look. Alrighty, I want enough room again for some wraps and then a big loop. Open up that loop like a jump ring and put that onto the center of our link. So this is where now we have more things in our way to get out of our way to try to do our wrapping. Some things are simply going to be in your way, but we shall persist. I've done the start of my wraps, but I still want to do more of that messy wrap look, because why the heck not? I'm not feeling that simple today. Okay, where's the front of our piece? Okay, let's bring it around a little bit more so I'm not cutting that at the front of the earring. We'll designate this the back. Well, this side is a bit more concave. See, these are all the the silly things we have to pay attention to as people who care. I heard the advice twice recently that like if you're not nervous doing something, it probably means you don't love it anymore. Or I think they say if you're nervous doing something, it means you still love it. So anytime I feel like a little nervous with that like extra like, oh, how do I that match? Is it that way? Is it that way? Like just like as a nice little reminder, like, oh, that's just because I still enjoy doing this and care. I'm not just stressing myself out for no reason. All right, let's see with our chandelier how that's hanging. Okay. Not bad. Actually, like these messy wraps are adding a little bit extra character to it. Got a loose end. Let's do one more and we'll have our third single earring. So I'm cutting intentional extra wire because I know I'm doing that messy wrap now. Cutting my wire flush and doing my last knotted head pin. So if you have not done the palette challenge yet, I hope folks go and do it. I think it's a really nice way to kind of get you back in the creative flow again. All right, there's my last knotted head pin. Like you don't have to commit to making a piece immediately, but like start gathering some things together that kind of speak to you and use that as a means to start a piece. All right, we got 3 Orion spacers in gold. One creamy drook. Shakita, the palette challenge I just posted in Gem Chat. You set a timer. Make sure you're part of that group. Set a timer for 10 minutes and make a palette out of your bead stash. It could be as wild as you want. And then take a picture of it and show it off. Could inspire someone else in their palette. We do a lot of palettes like on the live sales as kind of some inspiration of what things could go together, but it's kind of the same idea of like go to your own stash and see what you like. Because obviously your stash is full of things that you enjoy, so take a little time to find the things that work together. The palette challenge is happening right now. If you go on over to Gem Chat, you can post and use that hashtag palette challenge. No, that's the wrong hashtag, palette day. We potentially are going to start doing it every Friday now. We did it last Friday, we're doing it today. And it's kind of my way of getting folks to start their weekend off with a little bit of creativity. And also helps me get going a little bit more. Okay, bring that to the back. A little bit more. Trim that off. Alrighty, there's earring 3. We got to decide how we want to finish that one off. Could just connect the ear wire to it. Let's see. I used to have my favorite earring used to be leverbacks. And then I totally stopped making earrings when I started making more pieces for myself. I started gravitating much more towards necklaces. And I don't currently have my ears pierced. Let's see how that looks. Ooh, I kind of like the look of that mixed metal. There's earring number 3. So here, let's see where we're at. So glad I have more single earrings. See if I can complete any of these today. Here is where we ended up. There's our chain earring with the Capri Triangles, which y'all have got to pick up if you don't have those on the website. Got some fun apatite earrings with this like coin circle theme going. And then we've got a chandelier earring. 3 super easy projects. And there we go. All right, let me flip the camera back around really quick and I'll model them for you. Just kidding, I don't yet have pierced ears. But give me one moment and I will flip the camera around. So I'll be quiet for just 15 seconds. All right, there we go. What, Peggy? When am I finished them? What? I'm gonna have to do at least one of these like right now so that I finish at least one pair today. But it would be fun. I want to fit it. They look really nice as a collection, I think. They all have like that because they have the blue going through them. So it's really cool to finish all 3 as a little collection today. Oh, when am I piercing my ears? I don't know. The thought's been happening. The like desire to do so has been more and more regular. So possibly soon. I first want to test out what I like, how the sensation of like having earrings is. So I ordered some of the clip-on earring findings from TerraCast. I think we just got them. I just ordered like a few pairs because I'm curious. So I'm gonna start there. I'm someone who makes a lot of like often makes dishes very quickly, but that feels like a big one, and there must be a reason why I haven't done it yet. So I gotta make sure I really like it. But here is earring one. Okay, I actually really like that. The triangle. Earring two with the appetite. Okay, I don't mind the look of earrings at all. Like, oh wow, something to distract. And then the chandelier. Probably a bit busy for me, but I really like it. Peggy says it could be a nose ring. Oh yeah, that's the look of the year. That would do it. I was at a craft fair and someone was selling non-piercing nose pieces. So you basically just it just kind of went into your nose and had like these smooth edges. And that was, oh no, and then, wait, it was for the side of your nose. So it didn't require any piercing, but it still gave the same look. I thought that was such a smart design. I hadn't seen that. Jacqueline says, I got my first tattoo on my 50th birthday. I have plenty of time. Thank you, Jacqueline. I appreciate it. I'm in no rush, but I'm intrigued. Clip-ons hurt. See, that's what I'm worried about. But a piercing also sounds like a lot. Alrighty, let me scroll back for a second. Alrighty, it is 6:20 here in the Bay Area. It's getting late on the East Coast, so thank you to the East Coast folks who tuned in. I hope this was a little inspiration for some simpler projects. Take it a little easier today. I know I needed to take a little easier today. I did end up going on a big little road trip today, and I think I'm better for it today. So, everyone, have a lovely weekend. I will see you on Tuesday. And happy beating, friends. I will see you soon.